So welcome to this guided mindfulness practice on the 7 factors of awakening. So just to recap, we're in the middle of exploring these factors and we've talked about them as the qualities that emerge when we go deeper into our practice. Yeah? So we've come to the 6th factor out of the 7, which is concentration. And this is obviously something that's quite central to any art of meditation, is to cultivate a sense of concentration, because if there's no concentration, no ability to focus the mind, then we easily get swept away into daydreaming, into ruminating, into planning, worrying about the future. It's almost like a trance. Like Tara Brach says, the trance of unworthiness that we get easily swept into. And it's like the mind leaving the body, flying away. And as we explored last week, mindfulness is largely about bringing the mind into the body so that we can really be present with what is. And this requires a degree of concentration. Now, of course, this is the 6th factor. So there's a little paradox, we could say, that either we cultivate concentration as part of learning to meditate, but what we're saying here is that concentration emerges as a result of mindfulness. It's not something that we force or something that we try to generate through willpower, because as we know, willpower gets easily depleted, and these patterns of reactivity or aversion or craving are really strong. So in this context, we look at concentration as something that comes as a byproduct of deepening our mindfulness. So the recap is, it all comes back to the first factor of awakening, which is mindfulness itself. This is the foundation of our practice. From that place, we start to investigate, and there's a sense of increasing awareness, that we start to become aware of what was previously unconscious, like these patterns and where the mind goes, and there's a sense of curiosity and inquiry that emerges. And with that, there's also energy, inspiration. There's this virya quality. So we see these factors as progressions also. So last week we explored the tranquility factor, this effect that the mindfulness practice has, that there is this space of awareness that enables us to rest, to find the calm quality of the mind, which is actually a prerequisite for concentration. Before we find tranquility or calm, concentration easily just agitates the system, and it's based on this kind of like grasping, or this willpower that we're trying to exert. But when the factor of calm and tranquility is there, it's more of an effortless concentration that starts to emerge. So in a way, this is not a separate practice in itself, but we'll use a guided meditation that encompasses the factors and also puts a little bit extra emphasis on this quality of concentration, using a practice from the Mahamudra tradition known as the 7 levels of the breath, or at least a simplified version of that. We'll do maybe 10-15 minute practice. And just to introduce the practice before we go into it, it has to do with, first of all, just locating the breath, and then staying with the breath for 3 breaths, and then 7 breaths. So it's finding the level of exertion to stay with the breath, but then also to loosen up this level of exertion and concentration, and then to go into the breath, to absorb into the breath, expand it, and really find the essence of the breath. So this is, in short, the 7 levels. So we'll give it a try, this cultivation and exploration of concentration. So we'll begin as usual by finding our seated posture of meditation, and I'll give you some time to settle in, closing your eyes, finding the ground underneath, and the dignity in the posture, the uprightness, creating an openness throughout the spine. relaxing any excess tension that may have gathered in the shoulders, in the face, the torso, relaxing down through the perineum, the legs. Just taking this moment to arrive. And then locating the breath. Just noticing the body is breathing, and it's a matter of finding how those sensations feel in the body. Where can you feel the breath right now? This first stage is simply to remember the breath, to locate the breath, and to feel it in the body. So I'm going to use the abdomen as the point of reference, but you find in your body where you can locate the breath. Sometimes the breath feels a little bit more shallow, or maybe it's stuck in the chest or throat. So there's no need to force anything. Just feel where the breath naturally resides in this moment for you, and choose that as your point of reference, your anchor. You can also choose the nostrils. I'm going to locate the breath in the abdomen, and this first level is just to check in with the breath, just feeling one full cycle of the breath. So it's like listening to the breath, no need to change it, control it, improve it. Just letting go of all those intentions and simply listening one full cycle. Okay. So we'll move on to level 2, and this is now we're staying for 3 breaths. This requires a little bit more exertion, a little bit more concentration, really staying with the full cycles of the breath for 3 breaths in a row. You can take a break, and when you're ready, coming back to your anchor, to your breath, and then hitching a ride, following 3 more cycles of the breath. Really with the intention to stay focused throughout those 3 cycles, trying to prevent the mind from wandering. So you can take a little breath, a little break. So we're going to move to level 3, which is to stay with the breath for 7 full breaths. So when you're ready, again locating the breath, coming back to your anchor point, the point of reference, and then starting to listen for 7 breaths in a row. So really putting a little bit more exertion now and staying with the breath, requiring a lot of focus. And the mind may wander for just glimpses or moments, and that's okay. When you notice, just bring it back and continue. So after 7 breaths, you may take a little pause, feel into the body, maybe make any adjustments, or just for a few breaths. And then when you're ready, coming back once more for 7 breaths, staying with the entire length of each cycle, 7 breaths in a row. So you do this in your own pace. 7 breaths, taking a break and getting ready, and then for another 7 breaths, staying with full focus on the whole cycle of the breath. So now when you're ready, letting go of this technique and this level of exertion and hard focus, and easing a little bit around the breath, still staying with your awareness of the breath, but easing up, loosening the grip and the focus, and just allowing the breath to be there while also opening up to space around your body. Feeling the breath as best as you can, but with a light touch, open. No need to count the breath or try hard to exert yourself. Just lightness now. Whereas before, perhaps 100% was on the breath. Now maybe 50. The rest is open awareness around your body. Feeling the space, feeling the body, while remaining aware of the breath. Now for level 5, we're absorbing into the breath, allowing the mind to soak into the body and to merge with the breath. It's like putting the awareness inside of the breath. Rather than observing the sensations from the outside. It's more like allowing the mind, the attention and the awareness to become one with the breath, to feel the breath from the inside. So if I'm in the abdomen, I allow my awareness to sink into the breath in the abdomen, to become one with the sensations of the in-breath and the out-breath. Effortless absorption into the breath. Full length of the inhalation, the full length of the exhalation. Your attention is one with the breath. And any distractions, any thoughts, whatever emerges or pops up in your mind, just fold it into the breath. Now starting to expand the breath. It's in a sense from the inside out. Nothing really to do, it's more a sense of loosening up a little bit and allowing the breath to expand. So that it can also hold the space for anything that happens in your mind or around your body in space. Any distraction, just expanding the breath to encompass and include your whole experience. And then finally, level 7 is again to bring in this curiosity of inquiry and to really investigate the breath. What is the essence of the breath? What is at the core of the breath? Just see what you're finding. There's movement. In and out. There are sensations in the body. But what is at the core of the breath? Bring your curiosity in the spirit of inquiry to the essence of the breath, to the very core. Perhaps sensing the part that is beyond movement, beyond in and out. There's some stillness, perhaps spaciousness. Just staying with your experience, seeing what you find. So from this place, when you're ready, you might begin to take a few deeper breaths and just let go of the technique, the practice, the inquiry. Just begin to come back to the body in the room. So we moved through these 7 levels in a quite brief practice today. So I invite you also now to, when you feel familiar with the 7 levels, you can also experiment and see what works for you, to explore these stages in more detail. And just to recap, it is about first locating the breath in the body, and then going into it with some focus and exertion, to then start to open up and loosen the effort, in order to find this effortless focus that enables us to go into the breath and to inquire into the essence of the breath. And concentration is something that we can build, but it's also a result of this mindful investigation and that is happening and that we're cultivating through this practice. So I hope to see you back again next week for our final factor of awakening, which is equanimity. Until then, thank you very much. Take care.